Okay, I'm just gonna jump right in to this, even though I have not looked at the site enough to understand everything about this test. But there is a sort of disaster prevention um, exam certification, which has, where did that go? Which has several levels as well. Level, okay, here they're calling it like starter, middle, and upper level, sort of like the ninja. I guess this would be genin in that case, but in Naruto. But they also have different names for those somewhere. Here, yeah, they call them the same thing, just level 5, 4, and 3. And somewhere else they add other names. So it looks like to pass each one, you need 70% to pass. And my screen needs to be a little bit bigger here, I guess. So you need 70% to pass. Okay, so 70% is higher than some other tests, but you also need, but there's two parts to the test, it seems. And I think this is for all levels 5, 4, and 3. Um, it is a written test, which I believe on another page said is multiple choice for the lower levels anyway. And you have to do a like study, your own study regarding some like disaster prevention of some sort. And I don't know exactly what they expect of that, but let's see. So, okay, so the junior, there's the junior disaster prevention and the disaster prevention, which I guess are slightly different, but also not different. So the junior, I guess, is more related to school, more directly, which is why they have the disaster prevention sort of research project for kids as well. And for the regular one, it looks like um, so it's also not just understanding disasters and preventing them, but also sort of like renewable resources and that sort of thing, which is why I'm considering that this might be a social studies exam if we take things into account, but it might go into a different category. I'm still not familiar with this particular test yet, but let's take a look. So from last year, it all of these can be taken online. So that's one step that makes it easier, I guess. I would assume that they might have some system in where they're like watching you while you're taking the test. I don't know, but because if not, this one is also for the adults, and I guess it's multiple levels, so they probably have something. Um, so anybody can take the test. However, if you from level 2, they require the lower levels in order to take the test. And the junior test that we were just looking at a moment ago um, is aimed for, so I guess level 1 to, or sorry, 5, 4, 3 specifically are aimed at elementary and middle school kids, and requires that disaster prevention study as well. And they also allow a re-challenge if you do not pass, which sounds nice. I guess they uh, make it, they give you a free re-challenge because hopefully they want kids to actually be able to get good at preventing and being safe in disaster situations. Which, so this test, one of the things that I thought might be good about this is the knowledge could potentially be practical as well for younger kids to learn, like what to do in earthquakes and tsunamis and fires and all that. So here we go. The tests, level 5, 4, 3, pre-2, 2, and 1. I think in the video where we're looking at like a million different tests, this came up as a weird one where they have pre-2 but no pre-1. This kind of thing happens sometimes where I guess the level that they set in between here and here is a big difference. It looks like all of them can be taken online, which I guess makes things a little bit easier. So levels 5 and 4, here they would have 15 questions that are related to the textbook that has the level 5 and 4 information on it. And and I guess it would also level 4 is 25 questions. Okay, yeah, level 5 is 15 questions. 15 is very short, so 70% of 15. I guess to be safe there, you'd want what, 12 to be sure. Is 11 7. Okay, I'm getting even bad at calculating here. So that is the basics of how that test works, it seems. They will give you the result in a little bit after you complete within 40 days of completing the test, and send out a certificate if you passed. And on the level 1, it looks like there's 5 written questions, so not multiple choice, and then an essay that they want you to write as well. So this is kind of, once you get to the higher levels, that looks pretty tough actually. So when I say the highest, I guess only the level 1 has like that sort of setup. Everything else looks like it's mostly multiple choice anyway. Let's see if we can find any more information out about this before we move on to the practice tests. Okay, sorry, this is the level 1 again here. So yeah, we need 70%. Just some level 1 stuff. Just a bunch of questions. These I tried to download the the practice tests here earlier, but they require a password. I guess you can only see them if you sign up for the test. I would, and that seems a little bit strict. I wish I had a few more practice questions, because it's good stuff for people to know how to not die during an emergency situation. But we cannot seem to download them right now, unfortunately. I mean, we can download them, but yes, we need a password, so that's not going to happen right now. But in the junior page, they did have some options for us. So let's take a look. I have some open here. So they didn't give the levels, but I would assume that each one was like level 5, 4, and 3. They had 3 images. So let's look at the first 2 here just to see what kind of questions that we might be dealing with. So this one, there's an earthquake, and what places are dangerous when there's an earthquake? So when there's an earthquake, when you're going to school, and or going home from school, or on your way to or from school. So a vending machine that could fall on you, building with high signs, those could fall on you. These what do you call them? Some sort of construction site, place where people walk to do construction, that could fall on you. And a block wall, so like a concrete wall or something, which I guess could also fall on you. Okay, so none of these look particularly safe. I guess if the vending machine fell on you, at least you have something to drink, but um, that would be my preference out of these, perhaps. But I think we should look at the question. Um, okay, so you match them with the explanations, it says. So I was looking for the safest one here. Yeah, my son does this all the time too. He'll not read the question properly and just try and answer. So it's might be hereditary. So the first one here, um, so they actually use the same word here and here. So I'm pretty sure that these are related. These same word here and here. So these are pretty obvious. Same word here and here. We can say those. And then we have the same words here. So, and they all have the readings above them too. So if this is like the what the actual questions are like, and they have all the readings, yeah, as I said. So if this is what the actual questions are like on the test, this I think even at 6 years old, my son could definitely do. But I don't know how because this question is way too easy. So that's weird. We'll see what the next questions are. Okay. Um, was this is this related? No, I don't think so. So, another earthquake question. So, what place is dangerous for that to happen? And let's see what we have at the bottom. Again, I guess we match the images. So, we should maybe take a look at the question first. Um, so when an earthquake happens, you won't always be in the same place. Uh, what should you do in each of these situations? And what should you do to help save your life or save lives? Um, so I guess we match them each one per one. So we have the supermarket, convenience stores, all the like soda cans and ice cream are falling over. So this could be kind of like the vending machine. At least you'd have food that you would be crushed under, food and drinks. Elevator, in the elevator. Um, on the train or uh, in a an underground um, path, store, street, underground street, like a the some of the little underground mall sort of things. Don't know what the right word here is. Anyway, so this one, you know, protect your head and everything from, and once things have settled down, look for an exit to get back to the surface. So if you know what this means, if you can read it, then the only one that would make sense, assuming you're not in like some underground elevator, would be this underground one here. So this one is matched with the first one, and um, so get away from like falling shelves and where and stay away from things that can fall, and then uh, once and wait for it to stop. So they don't say to like leave the building or anything. If it's like a convenience store, it seems it should be convenient enough to just get outside. But assuming this is the answer here, but this one I guess a little harder than this one because I mean it is the only one of shelves, so maybe it's not that hard. Uh, that we have here. So um, press all of the buttons for all of the floors and uh, if the door opens, get out on whatever floor you're on, and once the shaking stops, use the interphone to call someone. And I guess these are maybe independent clauses because it'd be weird going like back to the elevator after getting out of the elevator. Or I suppose if maybe they mean a different interphone. I don't know. But the if you know what an elevator is, there's only buttons in this one. Again, the answer seems pretty easy. So the after the emergency brake, follow the instructions of the crew and get out of the vehicle. The only vehicle one here is here. So these are pretty easy still. I don't know if this is actually supposed to be level 4 or not. It's the previous question. These questions were clearly more easy. The things we need to read are a lot shorter for one, and so the questions are much shorter, and I think it's even more obvious the answers here. But this one was still pretty easy and pretty obvious as long as you can read everything. So I don't know if this is like level this is level 5 and this is level 4 or not. But if it is, I mean, the progression makes sense, but both of those are really easy. And I'd be kind of surprised if this was the actual level on the actual test. They do this on some tests, though. You go to the test, the site, you look at the practice questions, you get really confident, and then you go and take the actual test, and it's a million times harder than the practice questions. I'm not saying that's what they're doing here, but I've seen this in some tests before. So let's take a look at the next one here. Where's our selections for these? I don't know. The third question did not look like it had the selection choices there. So the other part of the junior test seems to be the free research part here, the free study. And here in Japan, kids will generally have a free study assignment in the summer and or winter, and it's usually a pretty big project. And here they also said on their site that you can actually use the same assignment as you use for school for this. So that would make things easier if we did decide to do this. I mean, if my son wanted to do that for school as well, for example, it could be interesting, perhaps something to consider anyway. So the theme is just like disaster prevention, and this can be like disaster maps or newspapers, posters, looking into disasters that have happened previously in your area, writing some kind of like essay or something on it, or any kind of report. So basically, anything. Not necessarily anything, but maybe anything, as long as it has to do with disaster prevention in some way. And yeah, so you can have these, any kind of report or poster, whatever, and this will go towards your mark for the level 5, 4, or 3, I suppose. So this would be part of the test itself. And I think this could actually be interesting if, depending on what angle you took. So maybe in the winter, we'll consider taking the level 5 of this test and see if we can potentially, mix in the winter study that we have. I don't know if we're actually gonna have a winter study. I would assume there is one, but I'm not sure. I have not heard from my school yet if there is one or not. But I mean, this does look like it could be fun if we didn't have too much homework to that competing with it. So, that is the study part of it, free study. But also, I found this other site here that also looks official. I think it's off my screen a little bit. That also looks official over here, and it says it's official. And they have basically the same information here, except the prices are. Oh no, wait, are they the same? 4,000. Okay, yeah, I guess they're the same. Uh, and the same amount of questions, the same updates. So I guess these are the same tests, just different sites for some reason. So, the level 5, as we said, they say 35 minutes. Did that, so what the previous one? Okay, 35 minutes, yeah. 35-minute test, 15 questions. If the tests are like what we saw before, that's not so bad. It's actually maybe pretty easy even. This kid, if that is actually what we're dealing with, this might actually be the easiest test in terms of potentially social studies related testing that we could do. Once you get to level 1, that is a probably completely different story. But at the level 5, 4, and maybe even 3, this seems pretty easy and pretty easy to attempt. I mean, not necessarily easy as in itself. So somebody said here, this person here, I guess, took the test in grade 6, the level 4 test in grade 6, and felt like she didn't know much about it, so recommends the level 5 as a starting point. Again, I haven't, all I've seen is the questions that we had previously, but I guess that would make sense if it's the first time you're taking the test and you haven't done anything like that before. So they have this mini test here, it looks like. So let's take a look what they have. So and I guess I would assume that on the lower levels that they do have the readings for the kanji. So I'm like they did in the previous test. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. But when there's an earthquake, what should you do first? Go and put out the fire. Protect your head. Um, tell everybody on social media. This is what people actually do, I think. Or run outside. Just probably protect your head makes the most sense. Is this check here correct? I guess we got it right. So what is the difference between a evacuation place and an evacuation place? Okay, I was going to translate those exactly the same. How would we change this? So evacuation area and evacuation place, I guess. The first one, evacuation area is outside and evacuation place is inside. That's probably right. I don't think I've ever actually heard if they're different or not. They have different names depending on the area. That doesn't sound like it would be good for official disaster control anyway. If everywhere in the country they're saying different things, like a googly goo has occurred or whatever, and then other people are like, what? I have no idea what that is. So like, I'm saying if you didn't use the same word like earthquake or whatever, other people used a different word and nobody knew what was going on. So this one says the evacuation place is for temporary, and this one, the evacuation area is for living. I don't think that's right. And D says they're the exact same. The D is probably what most people would say, but because they're asking this question, I assume that this one is outside and this one is inside. And that is correct. Okay. And I think this test that oh, was it correct? Why do we have a red dot there? I don't know. Maybe it wasn't correct. Um, can we go back? I don't know. We'll look at that later, I guess. So let's pick up the speed a bit. Um, so how much food and water should you store in the house? 2 weeks, 1 day, 3 days, if possible, a week, or 1 month. I mean, I I don't see the problem with it being 1 month, but at the same time, if it says 3 days and if possible a week, this looks correct just from the way it's phrased. But normally longer the better also seems right. So this one, I'm not sure, but I guess if you like ask people to do too much, they might just not do anything at all. So 3 days, if you can, a week is probably correct. That's what it says down here. Oh, I guess we got the second one wrong when I said one was outside, one was inside. Let's take a look at that later if we can. I think we can look at it from here. What have we got here? So the hazard map. Have you looked at the hazard map and checked the risks? I look at it frequently and share it with my family. I didn't know it existed. I've never seen it before. Okay, so obviously this is the correct answer, whether or not it's true. For a heavy rain, what is emergency level 4 mean? So it means that there's a warning. It means that old people should start getting out of there. Is that everybody should get out of there, or that a disaster has already occurred? I guess everybody should probably get out of there. That was correct. Okay, next. Evacuating at home. What is a good case of this? If you live alone, that's probably the opposite. If you are far away from an evacuation area, and I don't know, I guess we got that one wrong, so I don't know what evacuation area is. I guess maybe it's the same, actually. I don't know. Maybe. Well, yeah, I'm gonna just gonna stain my mind so we're done this test. All you can your home is always gonna be safe. No, this is not always safe. Uh, if you are safe at home and can get a lifeline. Okay, this sounds the most right. It's most correct. Yes, it was. Okay, as soon as we see one that's obviously correct, let's just select it. So in an emergency, fake news, how do you tell the difference? Trust the official sources like weather and governmenting bodies. Okay, this is. I I would say this is probably the answer, but um, this was a bad question to pick for choosing the answer right away because I don't know. There's a lot of times you just can't trust what they're saying. But hopefully in a disaster situation, they're not spreading misinformation through official channels for like fires and earthquakes and stuff. So let's just go with that. Um, so the business something protocol, I guess, plan maybe, continuation. Okay, so what's most important for not stopping a business? The boss's uh, ability to come up with answers quickly, having lots of food and stuff, having good insurance, or being able to confirm the safety of um, of of your employees, and then understanding what work is vital. And obviously, safety of employees should be the correct answer. I don't think this is what a lot of people, businesses actually do, but on paper, it is the correct answer. So there's a tsunami warning, and it just happens that you are near the shore when this happens. Hide inside of the what do you call these? Is the barrier things? There's like kind of like triangle-ish barrier things. Get to a high place. Um, or building that is made for not um, not getting hit by tsunamis, and that's obviously the answer, I think. So tsunamis can be up to 36 kilometers. Is that? I didn't see if that was speed or height. Kilometers. Oh, sorry. I don't think it would be height. That would be way too high. So to be speed, they're very fast. um, yeah. So what do self disaster prevention organizations help with? So they can put fires out instead of the fire department. I don't know if they are supposed to. I mean, I guess they could. Uh, they do some like tax stuff. I hope not. That would be boring. They check on the people locally, and they can help put out fires and save people, get people to safety. This sounds like the most logical. So I'm going to select this. Yes, that's what they do. So, oh, it's this difficult question. So the government, internal government they were going for this phase free plan. So what's phase free? And it is so they wanted everyday stuff to be equally usable for disasters, or I guess the opposite. Um, so you could use disaster prevention things in every day so that it would be safe at any time, um, which I guess makes sense. I'm not sure. Give uh, things out for free or freemium models. That sounds terrible. The freemium model one, I mean. Giving things out for free might not be too bad if it helps prevent disasters or save people. Um, Having free access, anybody can uh, use the spaces. This could be problematic, or having phases of the disaster, which sounds like the opposite of phase free. So based on the word, I would say A. Were we right? Yeah, I think we were right. Yeah, we were right. So this is the last question. In 2024, there was a earthquake. TKB, what's that stand for? Oh, that's what the question is. What is TKB? So, in and the lesson was TKB. So this is Tsushin Kotsu Butsuryu. That would be TKB, Team Knowledge Backup, uh, Timeline Kanji, and Business Continuation Protocol. That would be a terrible B here. I hope that's not the answer, because this, the B is short for BCP, which is short for something else. Toilet, kitchen, bed. Oh, that's TKB. Okay, so I I don't think they'd mix other words as well. This no, C is obviously not the answer. Um, A maybe. Team knowledge backup. This one sounds like it wouldn't fit regular people. Toilet, kitchen, bed, kitchen. I mean, you need like toilets and beds in disasters. Kitchen, depending on what that means. Ooh, I don't know. They're using English letters here, so let's just go with toilet, kitchen, bed. But this one also, it kind of makes sense. Although I guess it's less vital than the survival, so D. And it looks like D was right. Okay, so we had 98%. I don't know how they consider that 98%. So they're saying I can take level one. I'm a genius or something, but I got one wrong, I think. So how do we check the one that we got wrong? Um, Looking at the answers. So, uh, okay, so the uh, Hinanbasho is like something that you use temporarily, and the Hinanjo is something for long-term living. So okay, that was the answer. I didn't know. So the difference, I thought it was, I mean, I selected outdoors and indoors, but I guess the difference is the place one as opposed to this, which is also place. I don't know, I'm trying to translate it as a place and area. So place is temporarily, area is forever. Not forever, but for long term. And everything else we got right through our strange considerations here. So just based on the answers, this was all levels mixed into one. Most of these seem logical enough that I'm actually going to say that this going from the lowest level is probably actually easier than the flag test for young kids. Probably. Although there is one thing that is harder, I guess, is that the parent can't take the test for the kid, probably. But the questions themselves, if and again, this is I'm assuming here that this is the level 5. So this kind of question, they have the reading for everything, they have the answer literally in the question here. So this is super easy to connect. I don't know where you actually write them though. Do you? I guess you would write this up below here, below each one. I'd have to see how they want you to write the answers. But if this is the kind of question, and all we have to do after that is figure this out, this would be definitely the hardest part of the test. So this is something, just based on the difficulty, I think this is something that we definitely could consider to take as a test in the near future. Seems very doable, and we might actually be able to come up with some interesting solutions for the study here. And of course, when I say we, I generally mean my son alone with some assistance from me or even his teachers for doing some of this stuff, but generally alone should be able to do all of this stuff without any issue, even at age 6. And if we wait long enough, at age 7, perhaps. But yeah, this test, probably the easiest of the ones that we looked at that could be considered social studies tests. So I'm just going to make a quick video after this, just going over all of these. And my question here is, do you think that this is a social studies test, or would you put it in a different category? Because the like history, maps, and civics test are all social studies, but this to me is sort of like a part of civics, perhaps. Um, but at the same time, you could also consider it like, and you know, there's maps involved and everything. You might be able to consider this more of a science exam, perhaps even, or special exam, because maybe the range of things goes beyond social studies and, you know, like governments and politics and all that. But I think because it's a lot of the questions are regarding society and how society works around this, that makes the most sense to me. Anyway, that is my assessment and my question. I'll do a short video after. Remember, like, subscribe, and level up.